All right, buckle up because this one's about to get really controversial and most people have either completely missed it or are too scared to talk about it. But let's just say what everyone's been whispering. What if Meghan Markle never actually gave birth to her children? Yep, you heard that right. Now, before you brush this off as just another internet conspiracy, listen closely. This isn't coming from a shady anonymous forum. Meghan's own father has publicly claimed that she froze her eggs years ago. And it doesn't stop there. Her brother allegedly said she underwent a hysterectomy shortly after that. And here's where things really start to twist. All of this supposedly went down while she was still married to Trevor Engelson, long before Prince Harry ever came into the royal frame. Think about what that means. It turns the entire royal love story on its head. That fairy tale family image, it starts to look more like a staged production the deeper you go. And here's the kicker. It's not just about having frozen eggs. That part alone isn't shocking anymore in the celebrity world. No, the real bombshell? Word is, she couldn't even afford to keep them stored long term. Yep, apparently, the cost to preserve those frozen eggs can rack up anywhere from $8,000 to $9,000 a month.
And she's changed. She's not the daughter I knew. My daughter was a much more giving, loving person than she is now.
And here's where things get even more eye-opening. If you believe the whispers, and a lot of people do, Meghan simply didn't have that kind of money back then. We're talking about someone whose big claim to fame at the time was a background role on Suits. Insiders say she pulled in around $7,000 per episode, and that's only when she was actually on screen, which wasn't often. Across 108 episodes, her total screen time is reportedly just 138 minutes. Think about that. That's barely more than 2 episodes worth. Blink, and you'd miss her. So now picture this. She supposedly had frozen eggs, underwent a hysterectomy, and didn't have the financial means to maintain storage, which costs a jaw-dropping $8,000 to $9,000 a month. Then, years later, she reemerges with not 1, but 2 children that are publicly presented as biologically hers. It's no wonder people started side-eyeing the story. And this isn't just fringe internet gossip. People are investigating her motherhood journey like it's an unsolved mystery. Everything from the way she interacts with her kids in public to the body language during rare family appearances, it's all under the microscope. You'd expect to see tender mom moments, right? Hugs, kisses, the usual chaos of parenting. But instead, what you often see are stiff interactions, awkward eye contact, and kids who look more like extras on a set than beloved children. There's even talk that the little girl seen with Meghan at Disneyland one day didn't look like the same girl spotted the next day in a different outfit. That's right. Some are suggesting different children might have been used for different photo ops. Then there's that infamous clip. Meghan walking through a hospital during peak pandemic lockdowns while visibly pregnant. Or so it seemed. But people noticed something strange. The baby bump appeared off. Some claimed it looked fake. And we're not just talking a bad camera angle. We're talking about what looks like a collapsible prop, a moon bump, as conspiracy theorists call it. During a time when hospitals were locked down tight, how does someone just casually stroll in for a staged maternity shoot? Most maternity wards wouldn't even allow fathers in during those months, let alone cameras and a celebrity entourage. Then you compare that to her demeanor in interviews. Anytime her kids come up, there's this strange emotional flatness. It doesn't feel like a mother lighting up about her babies. It feels rehearsed, like she's playing the role of mom, but hasn't really lived it. People notice these things. It's not blind hate, it's curiosity. It's pattern recognition. Something about the narrative isn't adding up. Even her own father caught on. He didn't just hint, he went public and said flat out that Meghan had her eggs removed and frozen. And her brother? He backed the story, adding that she also had a hysterectomy. That's not the kind of thing families just toss around for drama. If true, those are explosive claims that completely dismantle the fairy tale of Meghan as a biological mother. And yet, the mainstream media remains silent. No follow-up questions, no investigations, just headlines and photo ops, like none of this ever surfaced. Which raises the biggest question of all. If Meghan truly couldn't have children, where did Archie and Lilibet come from? Why does it feel like everyone, from the palace to the press to the public, is pretending that everything's perfectly normal when clearly something is off? Meghan and Harry play the doting parents in public, but when you really look at it, their whole approach feels oddly filtered. Every mention of the kids is either overly glossy or suspiciously vague. There are no genuine baby bump pics, no grainy, caught-off-guard shots, just carefully curated images that look more like PR material than family memories. And then there's this weird little detail that slipped under the radar. No hospital confirmations. Not a single doctor or nurse has come forward to say they were involved in the births. Not even a low-quality paparazzi photo of Meghan out and about during her pregnancies, which is kind of insane for two people as constantly visible as Meghan and Harry. And those moon bump clips? There's footage of Meghan's stomach folding and shifting unnaturally as she crouches down. People have slowed it down frame by frame, zoomed in, and what they're seeing looks more like foam padding than a real pregnancy. If Meghan had used a surrogate, fine, lots of celebs do, but if there was an intentional attempt to hide that fact, then we're dealing with a whole new level of deception. And deception in this case doesn't just affect her brand, it impacts public trust, especially when it comes to something as emotionally resonant as motherhood. Now throw in the mysterious situation with the kids' birth certificates. It was reported at one point that Meghan removed her royal title from Archie's paperwork, only to later have it put back in. In the US, royal titles aren't legally recognized, yet somehow those titles made their way into official documents. Insiders claim that even immigration officials were confused and allegedly had to reach out to King Charles for clarification. That kind of thing doesn't just happen over paperwork. That suggests serious irregularities. And while Meghan's story has more plot twists than a Netflix drama, let's not pretend Harry's just an innocent bystander. He's been playing along without missing a beat. He's been smiling for the cameras, pushing hard for HRH titles for the children, something the late Queen reportedly refused for those who walked away from royal duties. But despite her stance, Harry kept pushing, and King Charles, shockingly, gave in. Titles were handed out like party favors. And just like that, Meghan and Harry's royal leverage got locked in. But let's back up. Why would Meghan go through any of this? Some say it's all about securing her image. Others claim it's strategic, making sure her place in royal history is non-negotiable. But one theory stands out. Having royal children equals permanent influence. Not just fame, but power. Longevity, kids born into the monarchy with HRH titles. That's not just lineage, that's leverage. And if the world believes they're hers, biologically or not, that story becomes reality. But still, there are too many strange details that keep leaking out. Meghan's interactions with the kids often feel stiff and disconnected. In one clip, she's holding a child like it's a rental. No eye contact, no motherly instinct, just robotic positioning. Meanwhile, there's always someone else nearby managing the kids, like a handler, making sure things look right on camera. And the public? They're watching, they're connecting dots. They may not say it loud, but they're thinking it. Something's off. People are noticing. They're picking up on the off vibes, the awkward gestures, the lack of genuine warmth. And the question that keeps gaining traction is this. If these kids aren't biologically Meghan's, and if the royal family knows it, then why is everyone acting like everything's perfectly normal? Is it fear? Is it shame? Or is there something even bigger at play? Something deeper that we haven't even begun to uncover? Whenever critics start to raise these uncomfortable questions, Meghan's defenders rush in with the same predictable excuse. She's just a private person. But let's be honest, there's a huge difference between valuing privacy and constructing an entire illusion. When it starts looking like she may have faked a pregnancy, possibly used stand-ins for children, and maneuvered her way into royal status using a carefully crafted image, that's no longer about keeping your life out of the spotlight. That's public manipulation, especially when you're still using royal titles, still popping up on the official monarchy website, and still cashing in on your Duchess branding like it's a lifestyle empire. You can't claim to walk away from the institution and then profit from every ounce of its reputation whenever it suits you. And then there's the timing. That now infamous video of Meghan twerking. It conveniently went viral right when fresh questions started swirling about the kids, almost like someone decided to drop a distraction grenade, stir up outrage, spark media chaos, and suddenly everyone's talking about a viral dance clip instead of asking, wait, who are these children really? If Meghan is truly their mother, why not just clear the air once and for all? A single, candid, no-frills confirmation would shut down the speculation instantly. Instead, we get smoke and mirrors, carefully timed headlines, manufactured scandals, and constant noise to drown out the one question that won't go away. What's the truth? The strategy seems clear. Flood the media with distractions, keep spinning the narrative wheel, and never stop moving long enough for people to focus. But what Meghan might not realize is that this kind of attention doesn't secure your legacy. It erodes it. She seems to crave that Kardashian-level fame, that Paris Hilton kind of icon status. But here's the thing, Kim and Paris weren't claiming to be royals. They weren't using children in a high-stakes game of royal PR. Meghan is. And that's where the comparison falls apart. Now, more and more people are starting to turn their gaze toward Harry. Because let's face it, this isn't just Meghan's narrative. Harry's not some naive prince caught in a web. He's fully in it, shaping the story, backing the choices, and feeding the machine. This is the same man who once said he despised the media, who blamed the press for destroying his mother's life. And yet now, he seems fully locked into the media game, calling paparazzi when it benefits them, suing tabloids when it doesn't. One minute they want privacy, the next, they're front and center with cameras rolling. It's not just ironic, it's full-on hypocrisy. And while all of this plays out, the royal family, they stay silent. No clarification, no pushback. Just this eerie, passive tolerance. But silence in this case isn't just silence, it's complicity. It looks like quiet approval from an institution that's supposed to protect its legacy. Meghan and Harry gave up the job, but not the perks. Meghan still signs off as the Duchess of Sussex. Harry still expects royal treatment on international stages. And the palace, their bios are still featured on the official royal website, like nothing ever changed. Where's the accountability? Where's the line in the sand? And every time Meghan posts a picture of herself with one of the children, perfectly lit, perfectly posed, every time Harry gives a speech about protecting his family, it hits people like a punch. Because at that point, it's no longer about just two individuals, it's about a monarchy being used as a backdrop for brand building. And that's where trust breaks down. Will the public ever get solid proof about what really happened behind the scenes? Maybe not. Clinics won't talk. Insiders are tight-lipped. Records are sealed. But here's the thing. Truth has a funny way of leaking out piece by piece. And the more Meghan and Harry try to act like everything is fine while leaving a trail of inconsistencies in their wake, the more skeptical the world becomes. People are paying attention now. They're cross-referencing timelines, studying interviews, comparing how the same child can appear oddly different from one photo op to the next. At some point, even their most loyal fans might stop defending the fantasy, because illusions can only hold up for so long. And when it finally cracks, when the press stops protecting them and the palace can no longer ignore the mess, the fallout could be historic. We're not talking about a little fib here. We're talking about what could be the biggest image manipulation in royal history. And if that's true, it didn't happen in a vacuum. It happened because people in powerful places let it happen.